Hello guys, how are you? Recording. How are you? I know it was a strange week, kind of hectic, with a lot of information, a lot of emails. I'm gonna try. I'll try. I promise my best to just send you one email per week. This Monday email with the instructions, the readings, and the homework to be done and due on Friday. I know some of you haven't sent me yet last Friday's homework, but that's fine. We're gonna be flexible. I mean, by the end of the semester, you need to send and post in Moodle. Always use Moodle, guys. All the homework. Let me put this nice. Eh, so flexibility first. No worries, no stress, but we have to keep going. We've seen so far customer discovery in chapter 2 and 3 that was available. That was a PDF that was online. Chapter 4, we go to customer validation, which is just certifying and verifying that really the customer it is maintaining and it is you're attracting and you have the traction. I mean, they just don't try just once, like discover, etc., but that is repeating, and the business model and the product and the service and the so-called unique selling proposition, it is kind of solid. Since again we don't have a PDF for that, and if you want to buy the book, I think it's a good investment. You can buy it online. I mean, there's online versions. You don't need a physical copy if you don't want to get access. So you can. Amazon is working in Spain and I guess in America, but anyway, if you don't want to get the book, that's fine. You already have chapter 1 to 3. So for chapter 4, customer validation, I'm sending you in this email a copy of a link for a paper, explains very well, and also a video that kind of reinforces. Watch the two of them. On another note, I'm also sending you a video explanation about what is the model canvas, business model canvas, sorry, which is many companies use this, basically many startups, because from a strategic standpoint, it is very easy to identify and to have all the different elements that the company needs for developing and for starting its launching its product and services. You will see all the elements. What are the key partners, the activities, value proposition, customer relationship, the cost structure, etc. It's kind of a business plan. Not exactly a business plan, but it's like at least a strategic planning in terms of identifying and describing the most important elements of your company or of your future project. And so the homework for that, I'm checking the email. The homework is to please 2 pages on customer validation and 1 page on business model canvas. What I want to hear, just your reflection and a summary. What is it? I want you to explain me what is customer validation in 2 pages, and I want you to explain me in 1 page what is the business model canvas. You can put it together in a Word file, put it all together and post it. It's in Moodle. Post the homework in Moodle. It's due midnight on Friday. So this is going to be the readings, the watchings, and the homework. And again, send me the individual project if you haven't completed when it's your time. I suggest, I know some people told me, well, I don't know if I can do it. Well, try to record your voice. Again, I think technological wise, it's time we get used to these new ways of working and studying as well. So I think it's useful, and I think it's better if you can record your voice with the presentation. That is something you will have to do also for your group project. I will give you access. Now you have the name of your teammate, the email, etc. I will give you access to some of the templates of what is the business presentation you have to do by the end of the semester. Send it to me. I will specify the dates, because since we're not going to have physical presentations, we're going to do this right at the end of the semester with your classmates and before the final exam, which again will be some sort of quiz, some sort of maybe some sort of online test. We'll have to think about something like this. And regarding the classes, regarding the presentation that you already have the class presentation. I'm gonna be no, I'm not going to send you more emails. I told you just once, but I'm going to explain some of the now in chapter 5 that we're going to be dealing with the type of organizations. I want to explain you this, but I think it's important. When you start a new venture, a new business, you may think, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do a freelance? I'm going to be on my own, or I'm going to have some sort of corporate structure, meaning I'm going to incorporate a company. Everything is possible. It's up to you. There are some advantages, pros and cons in everything. There's some liabilities important, and there's also some tax advantages. Being a sole proprietor, well, first of all, it's kind of strange. Remember, we talk about this. It's kind of strange that any project, it has only one entrepreneur, one physical person. Normally, you have two. And then when you have two, for different numerous reasons, it is better in a way you have some sort of partnership or incorporation. You incorporate. It is a good way to canalize the investments, canalize the resources, and also to establish the different responsibilities, and also establish the different the how you're going to distribute any profit, any dividend. So it is normal that at some point and you remember the Social Network, the movie about Facebook, it is important that sometimes you incorporate, and then you establish, well, who's got who, who's got what, in terms of what stake of the company do you have, etc., etc. When it's you alone, of course, it's only you alone, and you have 100%. Also, if you're alone in the sense of a physical person, it is true that the whole responsibility, if anything goes wrong, you're liable individually, and all the problems and everything, and all the problems and everything are on your side. Also, it is true that when you incorporate, and this is actually one of the greatest creation of the last 500 years, is to create this legal fiction, which is a legal person. A legal person, it's an entity. It's either a company, but also can be a foundation or association. Meaning, normally when two or more people want to engage in some sort of a project, they incorporate in a way, because it's a good way to differentiate between themselves as a person and their responsibilities and their money and their assets and their wealth from the company. So you have two different levels, two different layers. For instance, when you incorporate, all the money you put in the company is the money you can lose. You put 2,000 euros, $2,000 to start a company, and the company goes bad and they lose everything. That's all the money you have lost. You don't own anything else. When you're a person individually, the debt is on you personally. So one of the greatest advantages of companies when they were created more than 500 years ago was that reason, to separate the liability. So if there's any problem, damages, torts, whatever, etc., you only lose the money you have invested, you have put in the company. Secondly, or together with that, it is that the company incorporating a company is also a good way to, it's a good vehicle in order to attract investors. Meaning it is a very well organized structure where you say, okay, we're going to create a company, we need 100 units. You put 10 units, you're going to get 10% of the company, meaning whenever we distribute dividends or profits, you will get 10% of them. It's a good way to attract investors and to organize the different interests and different stakes of everyone, apart from the liability. That's why they call LLC, many of the companies, limited liability company or limited liability partnership, etc., or limited incorporated, etc., etc. So this is an important thing to take into account. Many companies, of course, many startups, sooner or later they incorporate. Very soon, if you remember the movie about Facebook, which is a great example again, I think they incorporated in April, when they started first operations in February or something like that. After 2 months of putting time, money, and effort, they realized, okay, we need to structure this. And that's when they say, okay, then we're going to put money, we're going to put this, we're going to put that, and you're going to have 35% of the shares, you're going to have 25, you're going to have 10, etc., etc. They started distributing. It is true that later on, there were some tricks, and Mark Zuckerberg tried to dilute down his partner Eduardo Saverin by making him sign something, or without warning him that what he was signing was actually diluting him down a lot, because a new investor arrives. So exactly when a new investor arrives, of course, you have to give them shares. So since you cannot create more shares than 100%, well, you can create more shares in the total number of shares. But what I mean is, if you're talking about the percentage, if you have 50, I have 50, and we have to accept a third guy, so we're going to be less than 50, because that guy's going to want something. So this is and again, the differences between freelancing or sole proprietor or some sort of incorporation or corporation, I think it's important. Remember, here you have in terms of liability, in terms of taxes, in terms of ownership. I think it's very interesting. Another here, we have here, and we mentioned also in the other class, sorry for the guys on my other class, about franchising is a good way for many entrepreneurs, although maybe it's not exactly entrepreneurship, but it's to start a business. More than entrepreneurship is to start a business, is to become a franchisee of another company. I wanted to do some business. I don't know where to invest. I don't know what to start, what to create, I'm not an innovator. I'm not very, tech guy. So I get a McDonald's franchise. You pay some upfront money, you get trained, etc., 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 and they will allow you to use the trademark. They will train you. They will tell you the know-how, etc., how to operate, and you will be part of the McDonald's family as a franchisee. That's a way of doing business. But it is true that, again, many companies, many startups, very soon they realize they need to start some sort of incorporation, incorporating. I mean, they need to start some sort of a company. Also, and I'm attaching here, although I already mentioned to you one of the examples of shareholders agreements, and this is very important, because one of the special things of a startup is that you need to contemplate that you will have investors coming in, coming out. You have different rounds of investments, class A, class B, etc., etc. And as the company grows, normally you want, of course, to raise money to keep growing, to keep expanding, hiring people, new resources, new technology, etc., etc. This is one of the very specifics of a startup. That is a normal company, as opposed to a normal company. Here, the shareholders, they need to contemplate this possibility, and they need to, in advance, they need to agree upon the conditions on which we'll have new investors, etc. We will sell them your shares, my shares, why my shares, etc., etc. And to avoid this, it is very important here, more than in a normal company, the so-called shareholders agreement. Other companies have shareholders agreement, but in a startup it's more important than in any other company, because in a startup is where you have a more number of investors coming in, coming out. Some investors, they like to just invest at the very early stage, like seed money, and then they want to, once they have done a ×3, ×4, they're fine, and they want to exit. Others investors are at the latest stage. They're happy with time 2, maybe, I put 2 million, I get 4, that's fine, etc., etc. Then we go public, we do an IPO, etc. So in a startup, there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of people coming in, coming out. That's why it's very important to make it clear. It's very important to make it easy to attract investors and attract money. So shareholders agreements is very important. This is, remember, when we talk about the different clauses that they have startups, the tag and the tag along and the drag along. So here, I know I told you before, but it was maybe kind of early, sorry for that. But here I'm attaching you the contract, and next week we will analyze the contract, but it's very important. Maybe, again, read it, review it, because it will be, it is one of the most important things for any startup. From a legal standpoint, other things, customer validation, business model, canvas, etc. But also the legal structure is very important, and it plays a very important role. So guys, I hope you're fine again, and let's keep in contact. Email me anytime you want. I'm going to try to concentrate on Mondays. If I have some articles or something that I think it's interesting, I will save it. I will not send it to you in the middle of the week. I will send it to you on next Monday. And that's it. I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Yes, I'm good. I'm here, of course, at home. Everybody here in Spain is at home for, poof, we've been for 8 days. Initially it was 2 weeks. Now it seems it's going to be 4. Kind of boring, what can I say? Well, I mean, working, well, boring half time, because the other time, between classes and work, etc., try to be busy, and I am, huh? But of course, I mean, the only way, the only time I can go out is basically to go to the supermarket, and try to do that on basically daily basis, go for a small walk, etc., etc. But of course, I mean, it's not easy. I don't know how's the situation. Well, in many states, I know that now, California, New York, etc., you are having or you will have very soon a situation like us, meaning almost total isolation. And guys, what else? We have to do it. That's not. We have another chance. It's the best. We have to flatten the curve, so we don't collapse the system. And hope you all guys good and your families are good. Yeah. Talk to you soon, and see you around, guys. I'm gonna turn this off now.